For the LA Angels, I have Vladimir Guerrero. Since Shohei Ohtani was technically an international free agent when he signed with the Angels, I'll keep him out here. If he was a free agent, he would easily be in this spot. Instead, I'll go with Vladimir Guerrero. Simply put, Vlad was awesome for the Angels after coming over from the Expos in 2004. He won the AL MVP in his first season with the Angels and put together some solid numbers over 6 seasons with them, hitting .319 with a .381 on base, .546 slugging, and averaging 29 home runs per season. For the Houston Astros, I have Nolan Ryan. When you look at Nolan Ryan's career stats, the numbers are mind-boggling. Over 5,000 career innings pitched, 5,714 strikeouts, 324 wins, and a career ERA of 3.19. It's even more crazy to think that he never even won a Cy Young Award. Out of the 4 teams he was with in his career, he spent the longest of his tenures with the Astros after signing a 4-year, $4.5 million deal, which made him the first $1 million player in baseball and the highest paid player in history at the time. He was worth every penny in 9 seasons with the Astros, winning over 100 games while posting a 3.13 ERA and striking out over 1,800 batters in 282 games. For the Oakland A's, I have Bartolo Colon. Big Sexy played for 11 different teams in his career, but one of his best stops, while short, was with the A's. They signed him to a 1-year deal in 2012, and he turned in a solid season, posting a 3.43 ERA over 24 starts. They decided to re-sign him for 2013, and he did even better, posting a 2.65 ERA over 30 starts. For the Toronto Blue Jays, I have Roger Clemens. Whenever I think of Roger Clemens, I think of his time with the Red Sox, Yankees, and the Astros, but I can't help but forget sometimes he was once a Toronto Blue Jay. After coming off a couple of not-so-Roger Clemens-like seasons that had Red Sox general manager Dan Duquette say Clemens was entering the twilight of his career, he decided to move on to Toronto, and boy, oh boy, did he prove Duquette wrong. He went on to post some of the best numbers we've ever seen in a single season for a pitcher. It was only 2 seasons, but it was worth every penny and then some, as he won back-to-back Cy Young Awards, winning 20-plus games each season while averaging an ERA of 2.33 and 10 strikeouts per 9. He was eventually traded to the Yankees in the middle of his 4-year deal, but he was absolutely incredible in his 2 seasons with Toronto. For the Atlanta Braves, I have Greg Maddox. Greg Maddox will not only go down as the best free agent signing for the Braves of all time, but one of the best signings of all time, period. After a very successful first 7 seasons with the Cubs, including a Cy Young Award in 1992, he became a free agent for the first time. Believe it or not, he was highly coveted by the Yankees and was going to sign with them, but due to a front office member having a heart attack, they didn't get around to extending an offer to him. Instead, he chose to sign with the Braves on a 5-year, $28 million deal and went on to have 11 incredible seasons. Over that time, he won 194 games while averaging an ERA of 2.63, which was able to net him 3 more Cy Young Awards, 3 straight from 1993 to 1995. For the Milwaukee Brewers, I have Lorenzo Kane. There haven't been many big free agent signings in the Brewers' history. One of the big ones for them, though, was Lorenzo Kane before the 2018 season for 5 years and $80 million. While the last 3 years of the deal saw a lot of injuries with him, the first 2 were very good. In 2018, he finished with a 6.9 Baseball Reference WAR to finish top 10 in the NL MVP voting and helped get the Brewers to the NLCS against the Dodgers, while he was solid for the most part in 2019. While he was limited to 78 games in 2021, he still produced a 2.3 Baseball Reference WAR. For the St. Louis Cardinals, I have Matt Holliday. After 3 straight All-Star seasons and a World Series appearance with the Rockies, along with a solid first half of the season with the A's in 2009, he was eventually traded to the Cardinals to help them get to the playoffs. In the offseason, he decided to stick around for the long haul, signing a 7-year, $120 million contract, the largest in team history. Over those 7 seasons, he went on to hit .288 with a .377 on base and a .486 slugging, while averaging 20 homers and 80 RBIs a season and making 4 All-Star games. For the Chicago Cubs, I have John Lester. After 7 great seasons and 2 World Series championships with the Red Sox, John Lester entered his final season before free agency. After the Red Sox offered him a very low contract extension of 4 years and $70 million during spring training, which was rightfully turned down, the Red Sox traded him to the A's during a down season in 2014. In the offseason, the Red Sox tried to bring him back, but he eventually signed a massive deal with the Cubs for 6 years and $155 million. He went on to be solid for the Cubs, but most importantly, helped them win their first World Series in 108 years. For the Arizona Diamondbacks, I have Randy Johnson. We've already talked about a couple of the best pitchers of all time, but let's talk about another. The big unit, Randy Johnson, had become one of the most dominant pitchers in baseball during his years with the Mariners and a brief stint with the Astros in 1998. In 1999, he decided to join one of the newer teams on the block, the Arizona Diamondbacks, on a 4-year, $52 million deal. Let's just say it paid off, as he won 4 straight Cy Young Awards, won a World Series in 2001, and pitched a perfect game in 2004. For the LA Dodgers, I have Kirk Gibson. With all the money the Dodgers have, it's funny to think that it was actually pretty tough to pick their best free agent signing here. While there were some good signings like Zach Greinke and Justin Turner, I'm going to go with Kirk Gibson, who they signed to a 3-year, $4.5 million contract. His first year of the deal couldn't have gone better, as he won the NL MVP thanks to a year in which he hit .290 with an .860 OPS, 25 homers, and 31 stolen bases. In the playoffs, though, he suffered an injury to his hamstring and knee in the National League Championship Series against the Mets, but they were able to make it to the World Series to play against the Oakland A's. In Game 1, with the Dodgers down by 1 in the bottom of the 9th, Gibson miraculously came off the bench and hit a walk-off homer against Dennis Eckersley. While he was limited the next 2 years due to injuries, that first year made it all worth it, and then some. For the San Francisco Giants, I have Barry Bonds. I mean, what else is there to say here? After establishing himself as one of the best players in baseball during his time with the Pirates, thanks to his 5-tool ability, Bonds went on to sign a then record-breaking 6-year, $43.75 million contract with the Giants. He would go on to put up stupid numbers all over the place, help get the Giants to a World Series in 2002, and break the record for home runs in a single season, while also becoming the all-time home run king. While he did get caught up in the whole steroid scandal, I still personally believe he's the greatest player to ever play the game. For the Cleveland Guardians, I have Roberto Alomar. Well, they were the Indians at the time, but nonetheless, Roberto Alomar was a very good signing for them back before the 1999 season. Up to that point, he had easily established himself as one of the best second basemen in the game, making it to 9 straight All-Star games, while also helping the Blue Jays win a World Series in both 1992 and 1993. After signing a 4-year deal with Cleveland, he was excellent, hitting .323 with a .920 OPS while averaging 21 homers and 100-plus RBIs over the first 3 seasons. He was eventually traded to the Mets before the final year of his deal, but he was extremely productive for the Indians. For the Seattle Mariners, I have Ichiro Suzuki. After establishing himself as one of the best players to ever come from Japan over 9 seasons, he became a free agent and went on to sign with the Mariners on a 3-year deal. Well, to say the least, it was a franchise-altering move, as he quickly became one of the best players in the game. He won Rookie of the Year and MVP in his first season with Seattle, helping them win a record-tying 116 games. Over the next 11 seasons with Seattle, he went on to hit .326 with a .791 OPS while averaging 38 stolen bases a season. For the Miami Marlins, I have Kevin Brown. The Marlins aren't really known for signing high-profile players very often, but one they did make was Kevin Brown before the 1996 season. Prior to coming to the Marlins, he had established himself as one of the more solid pitchers in the game, but he took it to another level in Florida. In 1996, he finished second in Cy Young voting thanks to a 17-11 record and a 1.89 ERA, but 1997 was where he really became a Marlins legend. After going 16-8 with a 2.69 ERA, he proceeded to lead the Marlins to an improbable World Series championship over the Indians. He did eventually get traded to the Padres during the Marlins fire sale that year, but he gave them an incredible 2 seasons. For the New York Mets, I have Mike Piazza. One of the greatest Mets players to ever don a Mets jersey, Mike Piazza will go down as a legend in Queens. With the Dodgers in the first 7 seasons of his career, he had established himself as not just the best catcher in the game, but one of the best players, period. Contract extension talks with the Dodgers in 1998 weren't going anywhere, though, and he publicly criticized the organization, fans, and even Vince Scully, which led to a trade with the Marlins. 1 week later, though, he was flipped to the Mets and ended up hitting very well for them. In the offseason, he became a free agent, but eventually re-signed with the Mets on a record 7-year, $91 million contract. Over those 7 seasons, he led the Mets to the World Series in 2000, hit a dramatic home run after the 9/11 terrorist attacks, made the All-Star team 6 times, all while hitting .296 with a .915 OPS and averaging 28 homers a season. season. His number was eventually retired by the Mets, and he'll go down as one of the best Mets players of all time. One thing I'm absolutely terrible at during the holidays is wrapping gifts, but thanks to Factor Meals, I got all the time in the world to get those silly gifts wrapped. Factor has been able to help me save time while still eating great, and could be a great option for you as well. With Factor, you can skip that extra trip to the grocery store, along with all the meal prepping, while still getting the flavor and nutritional quality that you need. Factor's fresh, never frozen meals are ready in just 2 minutes, so all you have to do is heat and enjoy. There's many options to choose from, including calorie-conscious options, which are under 550 calories per serving, which is great for me because of all the eggnog I'm drinking this Christmas season. They even have Protein Plus meals, which has helped me get all that good protein to help me recover between my lifts at the gym. It's not just Christmas for Santa, but it's also Liftmas, am I right? To get started, head to Factor75.com or click the link in the description below and use code HYDE50 to get 50% off your first Factor box. Now, let's get back to the video. For the Washington Nationals, I have Max Scherzer. With the Tigers, Scherzer had cemented himself as one of the best pitchers in the game, which netted him one of the biggest contracts in baseball, a 7-year, $210 million contract. Over the span of the deal, he was incredible. From 2015 to 2018, he averaged over 280 strikeouts per season, all while averaging a 2.71 ERA. In 2016 and 2017, he won back-to-back Cy Young Awards and helped the Nationals win a World Series in 2019. Easily one of the best return on investments ever. For the Baltimore Orioles, I have Raphael Palo. Most people will remember Palo pointing his finger to Congress during the steroid investigation, saying he never took steroids, and then eventually tested positive for steroids while he was with the Orioles in 2005. Brutal. However, that was actually his second stint with the Orioles, as he first signed with them back before the 1994 season. In the 5 seasons prior with the Rangers, he put up solid numbers, including a 37-homer, .926 OPS season in 1993 that helped net him a 5-year, $30 million deal with Baltimore. He didn't disappoint, as he went on to average a .916 OPS with 36 home runs a season over the 5-year deal. For the San Diego Padres, I have Steve Garvey. Back in 1982, the Padres were still trying to become relevant after becoming an expansion team back in 1969. The first big step towards that was signing Steve Garvey to a 5-year, $6.6 million deal. He put together 14 solid seasons with the Dodgers, which consisted of a .301 batting average and a .796 OPS, along with over 200 home runs. While his best days were behind him, he still put up solid numbers with San Diego, including a .283 batting average the first 2 years of the deal. However, it was what he brought to the team as a winning player that helped the most. Despite losing in the World Series to the Tigers, he helped the Padres get to their first ever postseason in 1984, which included a memorable walk-off home run in Game 4 of the National League Championship Series against the Cubs. For the Pittsburgh Pirates, I have Russell Martin. The Pirates haven't had many big free agent signings, but one that really worked out was Russell Martin back before the 2013 season. The Pirates are on the cusp of finally getting back to some winning, and a veteran leader like Martin helped get them over the hump. While his stay there was only 2 seasons, he put up solid numbers, including great defense, to help the Pirates get to the postseason in back-to-back years. For the Philadelphia Phillies, I have Pete Rose. For this one, I'm going to go with the Phillies' first ever free agent signing, and that was Pete Rose. When most of us think of Pete Rose, we think of all the great years he had with the Reds. However, he was also very good for the Phillies after signing with them before the 1979 season on a 4-year deal worth around $3 million. He immediately brought some energy to the lineup, hitting .331 in his first season, and helped lead the Phillies to their first ever World Series championship in 1980. He proceeded to have a couple of more good seasons and made it to the All-Star game 4 times while with the Phillies. For the Texas Rangers, I have Adrian Beltre. After an awesome bounce-back season in 2010 for the Red Sox, Beltre was able to land a 6-year, $96 million deal with the Rangers. Simply put, it was worth it and then some. He helped the Rangers get back to the World Series in 2011 and made 3 All-Star games, all while hitting .308 with an .873 OPS with an average of 28 homers per season over the life of the deal. For the Tampa Bay Rays, I have Charlie Morton. The Rays haven't had many splashes in free agency, but one that worked out well out for them was Charlie Morton before the 2019 season on a 2-year deal worth $30 million. In 2019, he was great, starting 33 games while posting an ERA of 3.05 and a FIP of 2.81, while averaging 11 strikeouts per 9, which earned him a third-place finish for the Cy Young. In the shortened 2020 season, his ERA of 4.74 was high, but his FIP was much better at 3.45, and he helped the Rays get back to the World Series with solid pitching in Game 2 and Game 7 of the ALCS. For the Cincinnati Reds, I have Arlis Chapman. After flamethrower Arlis Chapman defected from Cuba in 2009, he was able to become a free agent in America after he petitioned for it. Eventually, he signed with the Reds on a 6-year deal for $30.25 million. He made his MLB debut in August of 2010 and eventually went on to become one of the best closers in the game, averaging 36 saves a season from 2012 to 2015 while striking out 16 batters per 9. For the Boston Red Sox, I have David Ortiz. Like I've said a few times in this video, what else is there to say? Sure, when the Red Sox signed David Ortiz to a 1-year deal after the Minnesota Twins released him before the 2003 season, it was more of a low-risk, high-reward signing, but Theo Epstein saw a lot of promise in Ortiz. Well, he was right, as Ortiz went on to become one of the most prolific hitters in the game and produced many clutch moments in a postseason for the ages in 2004 to help the Red Sox win their first World Series in 86 years. He ended up signing multiple extensions with the Red Sox that resulted in him being there for a total of 14 seasons. Over that stretch, he helped them win a couple of more World Series in 2007 and 2013 and made 10 All-Star games. Overall, in his career in Boston, he hit .290 with a .956 OPS and 483 home runs, which included his 500th home run in 2015 and was eventually enshrined in the Hall of Fame. For the Colorado Rockies, I have Larry Walker. The Rockies have made some, well, interesting moves over the years, but one that was very good for them was Larry Walker back before the 1995 season. He was very good with the Expos, averaging an .887 OPS from 1992 to 1994, which earned him a 4-year, $22 million deal. He ended up getting miles better, hitting .335 with an OPS of 1.058 and 32 homers per season over the 4 years of the deal, which included an NL MVP award in 1997 and eventually signed a 6-year, $75 million extension in 1999. He ended up playing with the Rockies until 2004 before finishing out his career in St. Louis in 2005. For the Kansas City Royals, I have David Cone. The Royals haven't had a lot of big signings in their history, but one guy that was excellent for them was David Cone. While his stay with the Royals wasn't long since he was traded in 1995 to the Blue Jays, he made the 2 years of the Royals count, posting an average ERA of 3.17 and also winning the Cy Young in 1994. An honorable mention for me would be Edison Volquez in 2015, who was solid for them, posting a 3.55 ERA that season and helped them win the World Series over the Mets. For the Detroit Tigers, I have Ivan Rodriguez. When this signing happened, people were rather confused. Pudge won a World Series in 2003 with the Marlins, but decided to sign with the Tigers, who were coming off a season in which they had a record of 43 and 119, the third most losses in a season in Major League Baseball history. However, things turned around rather quickly as Pudge was able to help get the Tigers back to the World Series in 2006. Overall, he made it to the All-Star game 4 times while putting up solid numbers both offensively and defensively. For the Minnesota Twins, I have Jack Morris. Like other teams on this list, it's not often the Twins have dropped some serious cash in free agency, minus Carlos Correa a couple of years ago. However, one guy they landed was Jack Morris in 1991 on a 1-year deal, who had been with the Tigers for the first 14 years of his career. He was solid that season, posting a 3.43 ERA and winning 18 games, but it was what he did in the World Series that will go down in history. In Game 7 against the Braves, he ended up pitching a 10-inning complete game shutout to help the Twins win the World Series, one of the most legendary performances of all time. For the Chicago White Sox, I have Germaine Dy. Germaine Dy was a big piece for the White Sox in their 2005 World Series run. After signing a 2-year deal prior to that season, he had a solid 2005 campaign to help the White Sox win the World Series, which also saw him win the World Series MVP. He was even better in 2006 as he hit .315 with a 1.00 .406 OPS and 44 home runs. And last but not least, for the New York Yankees, I have Reggie Jackson. What better way to end this list than the prize of the first ever free agent market, Reggie Jackson. After spending most of his career with the A's, he eventually signed a 5-year, $3.5 million deal with the George Steinbrenner-led Yankees. To say the least, the deal worked out great as he went on to post solid numbers during his 5 seasons with the Yankees, which included an .897 OPS and 29 homers per season, along with an All-Star Game appearance in all 5 of those seasons. This included a fantastic 1980 season in which he hit 300 with 40 homers. Where it counted, though, was the postseason, where he earned the nickname Mr. October. He helped lead the Yankees to 4 postseasons and 2 World Series championships, which included his 3 homers in Game 6 of the 1977 World Series, and another solid performance to help them win their 2nd straight World Series in 1978. So that's my list. Tell me what you think down below in the comments. Should I have gone with some other players? Let me know what you think. If you can on the way out, hit the like button, subscribe if you're new, and I'll talk to you next time.